Hello everyone, welcome to Bahay Aralan. For this video, we will be learning more about clauses. Let's start this off by knowing the meaning of a clause. A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a predicate. Just a quick review, a subject is whom or what the sentence talks about, while a predicate tells something about the subject. Its main component is the verb. There are two main types of clauses: independent clause and dependent clause. An independent clause contains a subject and a predicate, and it expresses a complete thought. It can stand on its own as a simple sentence, and so it does not need any other words or extra information for it to be complete. For example, Sammy bought some bread. As you can see, this group of words has a subject, which is Sammy. It is whom the sentence talks about. It also has a predicate, which is bought. It is the verb in the sentence or the action. And its thought is already complete. It no longer needs additional words or information for the reader to understand it. That is why the simple sentence is an independent clause. Is it understood? Now let us have another example. Peter took his dog for a walk. Why is this an independent clause? First of all, it has a subject, which is Peter, and a predicate, which is took. And as you can notice, it already has a complete thought. It can already stand on its own as a simple sentence, even without adding more information to it. Right? Now let us have the other type of clause, the dependent clause. Just like the independent clause, it also contains a subject and a predicate, but it does not express a complete thought. It still needs other information for it to be complete. It cannot stand on its own as a complete sentence. For example, because he felt hungry. Okay, let's examine this group of words. As you can see, it has a subject which is he and a predicate which is felt. But does it express a complete thought? No, it doesn't. Something is missing, right? So it cannot stand on its own. It still needs additional information, like what did he do next when he felt hungry? Okay? Let us have another example. When he met his former teacher. Again, although this group of words has a subject which is he and the predicate or verb which is met, this is still a dependent clause because its thought is not complete, so it cannot stand on its own. It still needs more information, like what happened next after meeting his teacher, right? Now, there is an easier way to identify a dependent clause. And what is it? A dependent clause is used with a subordinating conjunction which is placed at the beginning of the clause. Let's examine our previous examples to make it clearer. Because he felt hungry. The subordinating conjunction in this dependent clause is because. Let's have the other one. When he met his former teacher. The subordinating conjunction used in this dependent clause is when. As we can see here, a subordinating conjunction serves as our clue in finding a dependent clause in a sentence. We just have to look for the conjunction, and that's it. We already know where the dependent clause is. Let us have an example. Let's use the subordinating conjunction unless. I will have to report the sales lady unless she refunds our money. So, unless is already our clue. This means that unless she refunds our money is the dependent clause, while I will have to report the sales lady is the independent clause. As easy as that. And as you can notice, the independent clause in this sentence expresses a complete thought, while the dependent clause does not. Right? This time, Let us use the subordinating conjunction although. Although I studied, I still found the exam difficult. Our clue here is the conjunction although. This means that the dependent clause is although I studied, and the remaining clause, which is I still found the exam difficult, is the independent clause. Is it clear? Last example. Let us have the subordinating conjunction after. The workers ate their lunch after they painted the fence. Through the help of the conjunction after, it's easier for us to tell that after they painted the fence is the dependent clause, and the independent clause is the workers ate their lunch. Aside from those conjunctions used in our previous examples, there are several other subordinating conjunctions that are used to introduce dependent clauses. These include as if, before, even if, even though, if, since, so that, though, until, whatever, whenever, whether, and why. Is it understood? Now let us have an activity. For the first part, you have to identify whether the group of words is an independent clause or a dependent clause. First one. The building collapsed yesterday. The answer is independent clause. It expresses a complete thought and can stand on its own as a simple sentence. Number 2. Until I finish my work. It is a dependent clause. As you can see, its thought is not complete. Something is missing, right? And take note that it uses a subordinating conjunction, which is until. Next, when I heard the news. This clause is dependent. It still needs additional information for it to be complete. And it uses a subordinating conjunction, which is when. Another one. The desert air became cold. The answer is independent clause. It has a complete thought, so it does not need any additional information for it to make sense. Last one. Even though he is a famous actor. This group of words is a dependent clause. It is used with a subordinating conjunction, even though, and it does not express a complete thought. Is it clear? Now let us have the second part of the activity. What you need to do is identify the independent clause and the dependent clause in each sentence. First one. Since I could not go to the event, I gave the ticket to my brother. To make it easier, let's find the subordinating conjunction first as our clue in identifying the dependent clause. The conjunction is since. This means that since I could not go to the event is the dependent clause, and I gave the ticket to my brother is the independent clause. Next, you will never be a good student if you do not study. So, let's find the subordinating conjunction first. It is if. Therefore, the dependent clause is if you do not study. And the independent clause is you will never be a good student. Last one. When you respect others, you win respect for yourself. The dependent clause in this sentence is when you respect others. The subordinating conjunction used is when, and the independent clause is you win respect for yourself. Easy, isn't it? And so, that would be all for this video. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.